Where's the pencil one? Where's the one with the pencil hanging out? Right?
And plausibility. He said the problem with the Duke's case is that there is nothing other than his rather vague and limited evidence to support it. barging their way into stores and just packing as they target pills, medical counters, and alcohol. Well, say they have seen a third more cases.
Oh, I haven't got that to go to it, so.
The number of verbal assaults has risen by, yet the police are failing to respond to around 71% of crimes that they report. Well, Kate Graham is the operations director and told me that she feels that the police need to do more. The biggest challenge is we're just not getting the support that we need. And we can spend, and we have spent over £200 million investing in ensuring that we can keep our colleagues as safe and secure as possible. But actually, without police support, we're not getting what we need. Well, at this store, they even have to resort to locking their stakes up in security boxes to act as a deterrent to thieves. There are CCTV cameras above the aisles and at the tills, and staff are also wearing body cameras. But it's not just the co-op that is affected by this. John Lewis say they have seen a 26% rise in cases of shoplifting, which they blame on the cost of living crisis. Well, we have received a statement from the National Police Chiefs Council in which they say they do take incidents of violent crime seriously, but in some cases there may not be enough information for police to act upon or bring about criminal proceedings. For these types of offences, police focus on targeting prolific offenders, organised crime networks, and ensuring effective preventative measures are in place. But of course, for stores like this, where staff are living in fear, criminals need to know that there will be serious consequences if they are to be deterred.
Amy Welsh reporting. A man who shot dead a custody sergeant while handcuffed in a police cell has been handed a whole life sentence. Gun fanatic Louis de Souza was convicted of murder last month after jurors were shown CCTV footage of the 26-year-old using a legally bought revolver to shoot Sergeant Matt Ratana. And Transport for London and a tram company have been fined a total of £14 million over the Croydon derailment, which killed 7 passengers. Many more people were injured when a tram carrying 69 people derailed in 2016. Transport for London and the Tram Operations Limited have accepted failings in their health and safety duties. Electric bikes and scooters are becoming an ever more common sight on our streets, but as their numbers increase, so too does the risk of something like this happening. This was the terrifying moment an e-bike battery burst into flames in West London in May. Now a charity, Electrical Safety First, is urging the government to regulate e-bike and e-scooter batteries like fireworks. They want manufacturers to have their batteries approved by an accredited third party after a similar safety measure was brought in New York. Our reporter Anne O'Connor has been in Lancaster, where a scooter exploded in the middle of the night at a family home.
Well, it's pretty obvious why Andrew Beaton, his wife and 3 kids can't live in their home in Lancaster anymore. The fire damage is clear. He's here to tell us what happened. Andrew, it was caused by an electric bike.
Yeah, I bought an electric bike for my 11-year-old son and left it on charge overnight, and this is the result of it. Devastation.
Everything's destroyed, isn't it?
Everything's got not a thing. We come out of a pair of underpants.
Where did the fire start? In the hallway?
Just under here, just where the green door is. Just the back of there, there's the stairs, and it was plugged in under the stairs.
Middle of the night? It must have been terrifying.
It was only for my son getting up at 1:30 in the morning for a drink. That was still here.
And he alerted you to it?
Yeah.
How do you feel now? How angry are you?
It's devastated, yeah. We've lost everything. Everything. It's not only the possessions, it's the damage, the children, you know what I mean, the kids and that. They're
really upset, really unable to sleep.
Unable to sleep, they're on tablets now from doctors, they can't do what upstairs and sleep.
This was a present for your 11-year-old son?
It was, yeah. You think when you're buying stuff like this, you're going to be safe, but...
How do you feel about the result?
Devastated. We need to get stuff like this regulated quickly, otherwise there'll be a lot more happening.
So you support this campaign by Electrical Safety?
Yeah, definitely. Should have been done a lot. If you're buying stuff and it's coming into this country, it should be regulated.
Well, Andrew's a great example of what happens. He won't be allowed back into this house for another couple months.
reporting. The Liverpool captain Jordan Henderson has completed his controversial move to the Saudi Arabian side, Al Ettifaq, for £12 million. Henderson, who is 33, leaves the club after 12 years at Anfield, at which he won every major trophy. He's expected to earn wages of up to £700,000 a week under manager Steven Gerrard. The Saudi Pro League club welcomed him, saying he was a warrior. And the Premier League. It's their toughest opponents yet tomorrow in the World Cup. The squad.
East. You're right, yeah, David, right.
Heinz Seriously Good Mayonnaise sponsors ITV National Weather.
A very good afternoon to you. For many of us feeling muggy and humid out there today after yesterday's rain, a lot of moisture left in the air with a good deal of cloud for many before better, brighter conditions return tomorrow. This is the earliest satellite and radar picture, an awful lot of grey sky with the best of the brightness across parts of the Pennines into Wales and the Midlands. A few rogue showers across parts of eastern England there, but much of the action to the top and tail end of the country. Some patchy rain and drizzle across central and northern Scotland, a bit of a breeze around North Sea coast. Little showery rain sliding through the south and the southeast here too, quite breezy around the coastlines. Highs of 22 or 23 degrees, even with the cloud cover, giving that muggy feel. Some late and low sunshine before dusk for the luckier ones further east and further south. And then tonight, a fresher night for Scotland and Northern Ireland, otherwise quite mild and muggy, not slipping much below 16 or 17 degrees into the small hours.
Heinz Seriously Good Mayonnaise sponsors ITV National Weather.
It's not just travel money, it's fun.
I did. 24 different colours. You can see here, these are really deluxe. We're always looking for, cuts out beautifully. You see, so there's the blue that I've used.
We've actually got
on here.
a collection of
So these are pretty special too.
On the show, that's definitely worth checking out, I can tell you.
So these are the kind of the things that we use. So now, for example, I can take this same centerpiece, but instead of using this background, let me slide this one in. So it starts to look completely different, look. And of course, I could, if I wanted to, I could use the larger piece of card and put the artwork straight onto there, and then
Brings it on to our
autumn so beautiful. This background, let me slide this one in. So it starts to look completely different, look. And of course, I could, if I wanted to, I could use the larger piece of card and put the artwork straight onto there, and then cut it out. I'd be tempted to do the artwork first and then cut the frame out around the outside. So the most important thing is, now I've told you all the different composition ideas, let's look at this piece.
Well,
So we've got all those finishing pieces ready.
30% of the new stamps have gone in this one.
Have they?
Yeah.
They are lovely. They're so nice to use. So let's take one of our 555.
It's slightly more sparkly than the back. Only slightly, but it will.
It's heartbreaking and indeed very frightening when you see news flashes of death tolls all around the world. Globally, about 60 million people die annually, which brings us to about 213 deaths every minute in 2023. These huge, scary figures could have you thinking about when it'd be your turn. Whether the next minute or not, one sure thing is that death is inevitable. But what happens before, during, and after death? Is there actually an afterlife? Journey with me as I walk you through what actually happens when you die. While you spend away your day in your favorite game room eating pizza and gaming with your friends, some people are busy hanging out on beaches, while others spend their day making money and planning how to grow their businesses. But do you know that some other people have devoted themselves to courses that would take them their entire life to study? These exceptional individuals are driven by great curiosity and passion to bring answers to several questions that seem unexplained to humans. One of such people is Sam Parnia, MD, PhD, Associate Professor of Medicine and Director of Critical Care at Resuscitation Research at NYU Langone. I bet you don't know what happens to you when you die. Well, you'll know now thanks to Sam Parnia. Sam Parnia conducted new research with the goal of developing measurements and methods to better capture end-of-life phenomena like cognitive lucidity and identifying innovative strategies to improve the quality of resuscitation following cardiac arrest. Because of the broadness of this study, Sam Parnia worked hand-in-hand with several professionals, including specialists in geriatrics, dementia, neurology, psychiatry, rehabilitation medicine, population health, and several professionals from other organizations. This lengthy and productive research was named the Awareness Study. If you want to find out what the Awareness Study was all about and the end result of the study, you gotta watch till the end. Meanwhile, a total of 330 patients were successfully revived in the participating facilities during the Awareness Study's standardization of care for the relevant patients. However, 140 interviews were eventually conducted, owing to the sad fact that some of the participants regrettably passed away shortly after or were unable to participate in the study due to their health. More than 50 patients admitted that they had memories of being unconscious during the interviews, and 9 of these incidents fit the description of near-death experiences. During their resuscitation, 2 participants also claimed to have had out-of-body and audio-visual perceptions. Furthermore, one of the survivors described her experience as being on the treatment room ceiling and helplessly staring down at her own body while the event unfolded. Just as this participant could actually watch the doctors and their aides at work, another later described how he saw as his blood pressure was taken and how a nurse gave him a chest compression. Another test subject also recounted a similar experience in which he was just above the scene and saw the medical professionals performing resuscitation while the patient, a 57-year-old British man from Southampton, detailed the medical professionals who treated him in great detail. To the surprise and belief of everyone, his claims were further verified and proven to be accurate. Does this mean that dead people or those on the verge of death actually knew what was going on, even after they were dead? Well, medical professionals generally believe that a person's brain is only actively functioning for about 30 seconds following their last heartbeat, which is what happened to the corresponding man from Southampton. However, the study's administrators were able to piece together his descriptions to determine whether his experience had persisted even after 3 minutes. And after all double checks, claims seemed to last for about 3 minutes, which is quite outstanding. In the intensive care units of the participating hospitals, unique picture boards were installed in a way that the only person who could see them was an observer floating on the ceiling due to their alignment. The ceiling installations were positioned by the study's designers in locations that out-of-body experiencers frequently identify. There were about 1,000 of these panels set up altogether. Yet, it was so sad that about 78% of all patients were resuscitated in a space that was devoid of the necessary pictures and symbols at the time. This also applied to the 2 participants who were present and reported their audiovisual perceptions of the resuscitation procedures. Finally, none of the study participants were able to recall anything regarding the subsequent ceiling installations because they weren't resuscitated where the picture boards were placed. The AWARE study, which implies awareness during resuscitation, examines the brain and consciousness during cardiac arrest, including evaluating the veracity of perceptions during the out-of-body portion of near-death experiences.
Right,
As
he's
the
changed
lead
his mind
researcher,
now.
Dr. Sam Parnia is responsible for putting together.
And apparently, my dad's, and apparently he's had to chat with Kate. He's willing to keep the truck on, just have a couple of weeks with it not on, and sort of build it up and then go for a big week of like where it could pull something, get it all back together, like have a couple of weeks off and then go, right, it's back, blah, 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 blah. But he said he's had to speak with Kate. The one condition is the only way to be able to have me back and keep the truck on is if I go and speak to somebody and I don't touch gear or cocaine every day. He said that's the one thing he wants to be, is not to be doing it. And he said it's the only way he can stop me. He said it's the only way I can actually have control over what you do. He says if you want to come and work for me, you need to put it all together. And he said there'll be, he says I'm not bothered about weed or alcohol or whatever, but he said there'll be like monthly drug tests for a bit, just to make sure.
Now they're going to do drug tests.
You can buy drug tests, you twat. For companies can buy drug tests. Do you not know that? Any company is legally allowed to drug test you. Any company is. Any company in the UK is legally allowed to drug test you. Because I remember Debenhams did it the one day, they asked me and I went, oh, I refuse. And then they were like, well, we can technically sack you, but then that's when I spoke to them. I was like, well, I smoke weed, so I know I'm going to fail it, so I'd rather tell you I smoke weed when I'm at home. And they went, fair enough.
So what have you said? Shove it up your ass.
I don't know. I think it's a dick move with the way he's doing it, but he's got a solid reason to be doing it. And in a sense, it is still looking, as much as it's a cuntish way of doing it, I also see where he's coming from, because it is probably the only way that I will ever listen. And it's the only way, because, you know, he's tried for weeks to say, oh, cut it down, or just don't do it, stop doing it. And you stop doing it because, you know, you're my son, and I don't want to lose you before I go.
Well, I can't believe you went and looked at fucking Bobby and thought, well, it's worth it.
Yeah, I know, but I still think he's been really sly about it. That's the one thing that's pissed me off. Fair enough, I'm not taking up on his offer, because I would like to get it out of my life. Because, like, Minty also said, you want to start a business and maybe, like, start a business with your dad and then go on to a business. He said the problem is, if you like cocaine, the more money you earn, the bigger your cocaine bill's going to get eventually. If you get to the point that you're earning £6 a fucking week, £2 it's going to go from 500 quid a week to this, to this, to this, to this. It'll always go up. Yeah. So they've all got a point. Yeah. But like I said, it's annoyed me with my dad. It's a really sly way to do it. All right, I'm going to threaten to get rid of the truck, leave you without a job and without a car, but then I'm also going to then say, right, the only way I can control you and stop you from doing cocaine is basically say, right, you want all this, but you've got to do this for me. Go to doctors and get help stop doing cocaine.
They don't necessarily...
It's a very sly way of doing it, because it's basically blackmail in a sense.
No, because...
You want this, you have to do this, it's blackmail.
But he might not have been...
But it's also looking out for me.
He might not have been planning on getting rid of it, but then all the fucking shit with Kate is why they did. But then maybe he's made her fucking come to a compromise.
No, I think he basically said, look, I want him to stop gear, but, you know, I think he'll be better at it. Or, you know, he'll pick more money up when he's not fucking on a come down sort of. But I just think it's a bit... I see why he's doing it, because I know it is the only way round to me.
Yeah.
He's to dangle that carrot, but the problem is it's cheeky and it's sly.
And at the end of the day, in fucking 12 months' time or 2 years' time,
oh, I'd feel tempted.
When you've seen the amount of fucking money you've fucking saved and whatever, you'll be fucking...
Yeah, that's what I mean. It is really good that he's done it, but it's a very fucking sly way of doing it. Yeah, but I also know he knows it's the only way to get to me. Well, right, you want this, you've got to do this.
Well, exactly. How else could he have done it?
He couldn't have.
Well, exactly. So
I know he couldn't have, but it's still sly.
Well, it's fucking, he's using his fucking brain.
Yeah, he has. Wow, that's a surprise, because you don't normally.
That's the only way I can fucking achieve it.
Yeah, he's still sly. Because he knows he's got no other hold either way, which is just sly, but I don't blame him, because like I said, I even know it's the only way, which is why he's done it. He's not fucking stupid either, he's been really clever about that. He's been me clever about that. He sat and thought about that one for a couple of weeks, he has. That's not something that's come out the top of my head overnight. That's been thought about.
Yeah. But he's probably thought, well, he didn't really want to get rid of the fucking front. So, he wasn't doing you any favours. And he probably sat
Where are all the glasses? And why did you keep me from to use the new glass all the fucking time? No, you needed to. One for spot, one for me.
So we can use my iPad, get to it, like, look, what am I doing? Even if it was like, car washing, car balancing, whatever. After we jet wash if you want to, that and it, but I'm going to say to you, to leave your car so you can keep yourself on the feet for a few weeks. That's the counter offer. He's not hard up of a fucking couple of grand, is he? He can take it out of the business. Why'd you have to be always such a twat? Oh, I'm going to start OnlyFans. What are you eating? What have you found? Stop it. Another chocolate peanut. You've got food fucking everywhere. Why have you got to hunt for fucking scraps on the floor? Got a bowl full of food, you little fucker. And I gave you cheese earlier.